Hello, folks, and we're back with another review and thoughts on. Um, I saw this movie, and I saw the first movie back in the day, Are We There Yet? Which is a road comedy with Ice Cube and Nia Long and two other people. Now, I saw that one, I liked it, and then I saw a sequel, which I was excited for. I saw it, liked it, but I don't know, like, as years pass, and I haven't seen this in a while. I have the movie on DVD, but I haven't watched it in so long. So then I watched it. It's not that it's bad. It's not a bad sequel, really, but it's just one of those, it's fine if you don't see, like, you really don't need to watch this to watch if you saw the first movie, you don't really need to watch this. I mean, granted, again, it's a sequel, but, like, basically the first movie was, Nick, who's Ice Cube plays, he's this guy who owns, like, a sports store, and he likes this woman, Nia Long, pretty much, Suzanne, and I think he has to deliver her kids across the state or whatever to get to her or something, and pretty much as they're on the road, hijinks ensue, and the kids don't like him, so they, mess up his car. They literally almost get him arrested. They make him miss the train, which is the quickest way to their mom. And then there is, like, some heart in the first one where, like, they miss their dad, so then they go to see their dad, and then they see that their dad is happy with a new family, and so there is some heart to it. So while this one does try to do some heart stuff, though, I'm gonna say it's not really. I'm more critical now of it because I'm older, and but, like, the way they tried to do, like, the whole with the Chuck character, his wife, dying or whatever. They don't mention how she dies. They just mention she died a few years ago, and that's why he's the way he is. Which he's sort of like this worrisome guy. Like, he's a nice guy, but he's, like, overly friendly. He's a contractor. He's a real estate agent. He's a inspector, literally a local inspector, or whatever. Like, and then like, some of the humor in this is funny, like, where he, like, if he's wearing his contractor, get up, he doesn't, he's, like, in that persona, so he won't really recognize Nick as his landlord, because pretty much he sold them the house, but then we find out, oh, he's a local contractor, he's a local, whatever job, he's it. And he used to also play with the Lakers with Magic Johnson, which this movie does actually have him in it, as in the cameo. But, like, that whole character, I didn't mind him. I thought he was pretty cool. I wish they would, dove into, like, how his wife died, but I guess, like, we see that, like, she was a singer and very famous in Japan, country singer. I guess they had a baby, but then they don't mention what happened to the kid, so I guess, I don't know, so, like, he's all alone, I guess, or something, and, but then it's like Nick, he sells his, store, because then I guess it's supposed to be, like, years later, or a year or so, whatever year later, where Nick is married to Suzanne, Nia Long's character, and they move in with him, and her and her kids move in with him, and he's trying to relocate them, and then we meet the Chuck character. And, of course, I know we had the animal comedy in the first film where, like, a deer, that was, like, a big highlight of the first film, where, what was it? I think they took a picture or something of the deer, and it went crazy, and it would, like, attack Nick and beat him up or whatever. They do some of that, and granted, don't do it with the deer, but they do like a cameo with the deer, which is stupid. I didn't like the animal comedy in this, where like the raccoon, he's trying to hit the raccoon and then he falls through the roof, and then it's like CGI says sucker, and then or like when they're going fishing and he rolls out of the canoe underwater and he sees like a shark type of fish, and then he screams and then it screams and then swims away. Like some of the humor in this I didn't care for. But I'll say the guy that plays Chuck, I thought he did really good. This movie's directed by Steve Carr, who did like the Paul Blart Mall Cop film. I don't know if he did the sequels, but he did this film. He did Daddy Daycare with Eddie Murphy. So I don't know, like, but yeah, like mainly this movie's Nick trying to get this deadline for his magazine, sports magazine, and trying to fix up the house, but then of course the Chuck character like has to keep destroying the house as because he has to build it and stuff like that, and Nick's getting annoyed by it, and then he's sort of like what about Bob, where like he starts to influence the family, where like they're starting to quote him like he's an oracle and all that. But yeah, like some of the humor in this I thought was decent. The acting's fine from everybody. I would say like the highlight is the guy that plays Chuck, John C. McGinley. I thought he did really good, really funny. I believe the sister brother Tia and Tamara Mari. I believe their younger brother is in this movie as well. He plays like a love interest to Lindsay's character. Which they have her do she sings a little bit in this, which granted, like, she's decent, but she's not like anything amazing. I don't get why give her another spot at singing, but okay. But yeah, overall, like, I thought it was an okay watch, but again, I would say it does too much comedy, where like you have the son Kevin, when they first get to the house, settle into the house, like Nick is trying to eat food, eat like dinner or whatever, and like or a sandwich, and outside is showing Kevin getting dragged by a dog with the leash across the yard, and I'm like, that's not really funny. And then they try to do like these comedy, some seriousness, comedy, seriousness, funny, but not really. So I don't know, like, it's a mixed bag with me. I wonder who wrote this. I guess Steve Carr must have wrote this, possibly. But then it says story by Hank Nick Kinlin, whatever. But yeah, I would say if you liked the first film, then you'll probably like this. Maybe. This has 4 writers credited, which is, I don't get it. Like, it says 4 writing credits, but it's by Hank, and then it's by Steve Gary Banks, and then Claudia. Well, that's based on character. I don't know, but it did not need like 4 people to write this or come up with the story. Like, do we even need a sequel to the first film? I think not. And then they had a TV show, I remember, with Terry Crews on TBS, where I don't even remember if I don't even think they got the kids that played in the movie for the show. They might have. I don't remember. I remember Terry Crews and Ice Cube would make an appearance in some episodes, but I don't remember much of that series, so it shows how good that is. But yeah, overall, it's a fine watch. Again, the highlights for me is the Chuck character, some of the humor between him and Nick, getting annoyed with him and stuff. I think they should have went more a bit. They should have cut out some of the comedy and went for more seriousness in some scenes. Like they have a scene where Kevin and Nick are fishing and they're, is bonding at points, and then it goes to Kevin getting pulled into the water and whatever, and then Nick has to save him or whatever. And then, like, of course, he fires Chuck at one point, and then because he's had enough of him destroying his house, and then he finds out his wife died, and that's why he's the way he is. And then, of course, we have the redemption arc where we're gonna finish this house. And granted, the movie has a good soundtrack to it. I'll give it that. That's good music. It has Michael Jackson's "Working Day and Night," which makes me want to just listen to that song and that entire album, which I probably will do in a minute. So, yeah. Thanks for watching. Take care. Peace and love. Leave a like, please. Comment, subscribe. And, yeah.